away. So this is our final series of the day. We will start to the bottom right side of the map. Our red Zerg player. This is Denver.
Game paused.
Serral will pause. His hotkeys are completely wrong. It's a classic. Just levels the playing field, you know. Serral plays with the wrong hotkeys. It's suddenly this matchup, maybe Denver gets a map. All right, looks like we're fixed. Oh, we'll do these intros again. As Denver readies.
Game resumed.
To the bottom right-hand side, our French Zerg player. A great performance again to the round of 16 so far, but boy, does he find himself up against a tough opponent. From Infinity Gaming, his teammate Clem just got eliminated against Time. We just got to watch that TVT. Let's see what happens here in the ZvZ. It's Denver in the bottom right. In the top left, rocking the simulant Zerg skins, our blue Zerg, Serral. Not every day Serral gets demoted to the B stream. Fortunately for us, today is one of those days because we get to watch him over here for the next little while. So, how are you guys doing in chat? Let us know who you're cheering on this series. Let me know what you think. Has Denver got a shot here? Is Serral gonna ruffle stomp him? I think the biggest ruffle stomp of the day so far was, to laugh for lack of a better word, was a laser versus TLO. That was a ZvZ, and it was real quick, real decisive, real messy. I think Denver can put up a good fight. I think Denver can put up a good fight. I don't know if he'll necessarily take a map in this good fight, but I don't think the games are going to be like Serral wanders across the map and thanks for leaving the game because I have an army. I don't think it'll be kind of like that, which is kind of what it felt like with a laser and TLO. Unfortunately for TLO, it was really a hard beatdown. We had a fun ZvZ series on the stream as well, though. Rain or Nurture went to all 5 games. That was awesome. And as you do see, the couple of lings starting up on each side of the map. Couple of queens coming through from both players as well. So getting this ready to roll. As we have got the Overlord of Serral just coming over, going to be poking in towards the natural expansion here. Again, link speed on each side of the map, and just nothing too crazy to get things starting right away. What's up, Anti-Zionist says, with the Twitch Prime sub, feels like about 97 to 3% chance for Denver in the best of 5. I wouldn't give Serral a 3% chance. God, I reckon Serral's got more than 3% chance against our boy Denver. No, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, that's the thing as well. This isn't best of 3s anymore. You know, Serral's not been unbeatable this weekend. He lost a map to Hellraiser. But, you know, in a best of 5, dropping a map is like, you know, child's play. That doesn't really mean much at all at the start. You know, you can drop a map and still be very comfortable in the series, I feel. So, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how it plays out, as we have got the couple of lings from Denver coming around through the top side. A couple of lings of Serral also having a look to see what they can get up to. Baneliness from both players here, and a lot of lings on the way out from Serral, so already setting himself up to build into quite a few units, as we do see the few Zerglings of Denver coming out. They're going to be chilling at the front. Evo Chamber just setting up. So we're going to see a little bit of Lingbane on Lingbane action here in the next few moments. Serral becoming the aggressor right away as a few workers down, but with that larger army, let's see what he can do. Denver, his Baneling starting to come in right now, and well, this is where it comes down to the micro. So a couple of Banes starting to come up here. Some Banes down the right from Serral. Baneling on Baneling action there on the ramp. That one Baneling of Denver being very frustrating for Serral at the moment because it's just keeping the big army of Lings away. But now they're going to be able to come through. He's going to dive. He's going to get one of the morphing Banelings, and he's going to go for the other. He gets it as well. Love the pullback on the main set of Zerglings there too, so there wasn't too many Lings surrounding that Baneling in case it did go off. And Serral will also pick up a Queen here. Nice pick off. Really well done, as we're going to see the rest of these Zerglings of Serral now backing away. He still has a couple more up to the top, maybe morph those into Banes. Nope, just going to run them into the mineral line. And looks like he actually, more than anything, wants to scout. Wants to try and get into that main base. He's actually going to get away with those Zerglings, which is quite incredible. But yeah, I was really just looking to try and figure out what's going on in the main. He does get to see the Evo Chamber upgrading, same as what he's doing back at home. And these players look like they're pretty much mirroring each other in terms of choices at the moment. Serral is a bit faster on the Roach run, while Denver is a bit faster on the Lair. All of these Zerglings pulling back over to the left-hand side. As you see the Queen helping just push those Lings down the left. And, well, again, another couple of mains just kind of coming through the center. Serral still has some of these Lings to put into play. Obviously, eventually here we're going to end up in the Roach versus Roach wars, though. Denver's the kind of player to definitely throw down. I mean, Serral too. Both kind of players on a larger map like this to throw down Spires now and again and to change things up a little bit. Good defense here set up from Denver. We'll get these Banelings before the mineral lines. And so no drones lost there. And Denver, so far, kind of just going head-to-head with Serral and quite nicely in this kind of Ling Bane war. That was, unfortunately for Denver, I think 3... Actually, I think it was still 2 Banes to 2, so I don't think that was actually too bad either. As we are just going to be seeing this Queen able to pick off a Baneling on the back of the Extractor. Again, good defense from Denver. He's not really giving Serral too many options. But this is nice from Serral. Just getting in the main base and scouting. Full information, full scout. And that's information which Denver doesn't have on his side. As this scout goes off, Denver throws down the Nidus. Now, he actually throws that in on the 3rd base. Serral has not seen that, so doesn't see the Nidus coming up. Denver making another round of drones here. Interesting, because again, he thrown down the Nidus. You would kind of expect maybe some more Roaches. Would put him further ahead on the army supplies. Both going into Roach speed. As Denver comes over, where is he going to put the Nidus if he places it then? And how is he going to use the Nidus as well, I guess? Because he's making a lot more Roaches now, so is the plan just to go into a lot of Roaches rather than +2 missiles? Try and kill Serral with this attack, because again, he's defended pretty well. Serral sets up a Dropper Lord. He has that Pneumatized Carapace, so putting it to use and going to be getting some drop Roaches across the map. Nidus into the main base. Serral responds pretty much immediately. Has not waited a second before pulling Roaches and Queens over to shut this down. So the first Nidus will not go off. Meanwhile, Denver probably could have dove for that drone, but actually tries to keep some of these Lings alive. Meanwhile, Lings of Serral hit the 4th base, and they're able to take that 4th base down. So the 4th base will fall as, again, more Roaches of Denver up the right side of the map. Nidus network, again, now on the left. This is one that Serral won't see, but obviously it only really opens and attacks straight into the 3rd base. Serral is currently on a higher army supply than Denver as well, so if Denver wants to get aggressive, I'm not sure how well that will go for him. There's a lot of Roaches on the right, so he doesn't even have that many units to utilize over here. He might be able to kill some Ravagers, though, as he dives forwards and gets on top of them. Gets one Ravager. That's pretty much it. Time to pull back. And he's going to come in. He actually will probably get the 4th base, right? 4th base looks as though it will be cancelled here by Serral. Not even a cancel. Kill for Denver. He loses 7 drones, though, in the meantime. And he still doesn't have a 4th base of his own. It's this Roach drop that's starting to get the action done in the main. Nidus in the main base of Serral is going to get shut down, so he's still doing a very good job defending here. But now, he's actually going to lose a few drones on the left-hand side, so Denver able to get some counter damage dealt. 10 drones lost for Denver, 7 lost for Serral. It is a better trade for Serral and the workers, but, you know, it is damage for Denver. Denver is showing that Serral is not completely invulnerable to every single attack at the moment. Obviously, just a lot of action going on all around the map here as well. This Drop Lord gets out with 1 Roach alive. I mean, that's not very much so like Serral either, not to pick those Roaches up a lot earlier. And it is just because there's a lot of different attacks happening at the same time here, so self-load scenarios. You see the Roaches of Serral pushing down Denver, escaping out towards the middle of the map. Roaches and Ravagers pushing through the center. Coming up to the top left-hand side. Again, Denver just seems to be permanently down. 15-ish army supply. It was just since one stage of the game, he just seems to be kind of down there constantly. He does, by the way, not have +2 missile attack either, so he doesn't really want to take a Roach-on-Roach fight at the moment. Now, obviously, you're not doing much over there. Denver trying to turn and fight, but Serral's just going to keep on making pickoffs as he continues to push down to the bottom right side. Another couple of corrosive valves going to come down. Doesn't really do much with Denver. Serral will kill off an Overlord. Denver is, again, still struggling along here at the moment. Again, he has finally got the upgrade, so +2 missiles in play for him, but now he's missing +1 Carapace. And Serral, again, just making the most of this scenario. I love this as well. Pulling back, sends a few Roaches over towards that 4th as well, knowing that he has Denver cut off here. And then 4 Roaches aren't enough to make a huge difference in this overall fight. And when he does see that this fight is going to really, truly happen, You just commit into it. Great movement back on this group of roaches and ravages, by the way, at the last moment there. And again, Serral really just shows us a very commanding performance in game 1. This is kind of one of those engagements, or one of those games where it's like, it will... Let's see what's going to happen. That's the top left. Our red Zerg player here in this game number 2 is Denver. Up against the blue Zerg in the bottom right-hand side, we have got Serral. So our second game of this ZvZ kicking off right now. Quick question in the chat. There's no B stream tomorrow, right? Nope, no B stream tomorrow. Everything will be on the main stream tomorrow. Every single series. All the round of 8, round of 4s, and finals. It's going to be a great day of StarCraft 2. Obviously, make sure you check it out. The WCS Summer Finals Day. So I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be off. And then I'm going to be back on Monday casting some more StarCraft 2. So, yeah. Of course, if you're new to the stream here, just as this game gets set up, hatch, gas, and pool, do consider hitting the follow button. I stream StarCraft pretty much every day. Try and bring you loads of content, so if you want to catch some of that, follow the stream. You'll be able to see when I go live with it. So just building up here, obviously, here on Thunderbird. Not a lot going on early. Just the initial build order coming through. To get this underway. Sorry guys, a little bit low energy, but we have been casting for 9 hours straight on our own over on the B stream here, so I'll try and hype it up a little bit. You're right guys, it is Serral. Serral is indeed the god of the last couple of years in StarCraft 2. It's a pleasure to cast. I'm really excited to... it's just always a pleasure to cast Serral because the games are always great, right? The gameplay is always ridiculous. The most silly things happen. It's truly crazy. What's up, France? Thank you so much for the 8-month resub as well. Says thanks for the content. Thanks for tuning in. So on Thunderbird, I mean, the choices are really out there in terms of whatever. You can do whatever you want, right? We see Nidus here. You can see Roach play. We've seen a lot of like Niduses on this side and pushing through this direction in this tournament. It's another decent map for Mutalisks as well. The rush distance early on isn't super crazy short. Spears can kind of work. It's a larger map, and it's definitely a map where you can kind of go from base to base very easily with Mutalisks and kind of jump around to maximize your damage. So definitely a lot of different options. As you see, the Roach Roaring is dropping down from Denver in the front, so it's a pretty fast Roach Roaring actually. Is he going to commit into something like a Roachling attack, or is he just trying to skip that Baneling Nest and just go into a macro focus? I mean, he is ahead on workers. Serral actually being the aggressor himself, getting a lot of Lings up. He's going to be very good against this faster Roach Roaring from Denver, because with a lot of Lings, the first few Roaches aren't amazing against Lings, because when the Lings get a full wraparound on a Roach, that Roach dies really fast. And so if the Lings can get full wraparounds and really take advantage of that, Denver, again, when you're only 3 or 4 Roaches up, Denver may be in quite a bit of trouble. So here we go, Zerglings going to start heading out through to the center of the map. And, I mean, Serral's making another 14 as well. Where's the Baneling morphing? On the right-hand side, so you'll have 1 Bane coming in initially. 5 Roaches on the way up from Denver. It's going to be defending this third base that will be difficult here. As the extra Banes coming through, I actually don't know how much the extra Banes are going to help in all of this, rather than maybe just having more Zerglings to try and wrap around as much as possible. Ooh, some Lings from Denver do come through, and they're going to find a couple of the Banes, but they don't quite get the cancels. That's a shame, because now there's 2 extra Banes. Well, obviously if Banes do connect into the Roaches, they can get a good little bit of splash going. And these Lings are going to get a good surround. There's the Banes coming through. They're actually just going to try and brute force their way into the mineral line, and they are going to get there. Denver now has to respond, but 6 drones already dead. Make that 8. And now we've still got 2 Banelings to go. The Queen's going to find one of them, but it was in range of drones. That's 11 kills, and 1 more as well as that Baneling goes off. Also splashes some other drones low on health to maybe be picked off by Lings later. And 1 more drone found on this right-hand side. Serral will take a 6-worker lead from this. The thing is for Denver, he's been able to drone constantly during this time because he already has enough roaches to defend. It's just a case of, them being alive long enough to clean up the lings. So he's been droning consistently through this, so he's not super behind. Well, for losing 14 workers, he's about 7 workers behind. It's not terrible for him. And of course, Serral did cut workers a little bit at the start. So yes, Denver's definitely a little bit behind, don't get me wrong, but he's not kind of like overly dead just yet. He's going to throw down a Nidus network, and I mean, right now, Denver's army is a little bit better than Serral, so maybe if he can get the Nidus up, maybe there's some potential there. A lot of Serral's army still are in these Zerglings. Okay, obviously now the difference in work supply is going to add up, but that's because he's not making drones anymore. Now he's going to go into a lot more roaches. And that's why he's building up this army. So we'll see if it's going to be enough. I am a little bit afraid now. It looks as though Serral's army supply is going to be up there, matching that of Denver's. So it doesn't feel like Denver's going to have what he wants. He does get this Queen of the Lings diving into the natural main base. The Nidus network's on the way up. It's halfway done before the Lings get to it. The Roach is on the way over as well. It's going to be pretty close. It's going to finish for a second. He doesn't get anything out. He'll try and drop one into the third base instead. But this time, I mean, the Roach does show up pretty quickly. The Baneling there, too, is going to be able to maybe help out if needed. This one's going to be the same sort of setup. And he gets a couple Queens out to try and transfuse it, but it's just not going to be enough. Yeah, this is falling apart all of a sudden from Denver. So, in the end, this damage from Serral was a bit too much. And again, like, if Denver had kept running, it's maybe playable for a while, is the point I was trying to make, right? But he tries for this Nidus attack. It gets shut down twice, and now his army supply is 20 army supply down, right? So he is nowhere near where he needs to be to come in and kill Serral. And because of that, I mean, we see +2 missiles starting up. We see him going into more drones. So yeah, he's going to play the drone catch-up game, but he's obviously, again, just been so far behind in income for a significant amount of time now. And you can see that in this graph right there. You can see the advantage Serral has. And you can see that army supply of Serral now just rising up with that income advantage. So Serral looking pretty darn good here in this game at number 2 right now. And Denver is looking to be in trouble. Serral, again, just looking really good. Spire on the way up in the main base from Serral, so he is going to go into Mutalisks. Mutalisks are a great way to end ZvZ games. Like, if you're ahead, your opponent can't really punish you as you go Mutas, and then the Mutas come out and they just keep you ahead, right? Like, they're going to kill Overlords, they're going to force a response from your opponent who's already trying to play catch-up. I mean, Mutas are a great way to close out games like this one, especially when, if Serral goes across the map with an Roach advantage, he still potentially has to go up a very narrow ramp. It's run by the way, 6 more workers. Great job by Serral. He's going to go into the natural for more. Hold that thought about the run about the attack for a moment, as he just doesn't find that final drone there. If he comes across the map, he has to attack up this ramp, and obviously if he attacks up this ramp, he gets into this very kind of weird position where maybe Denver can defend with less units because, he can just hold on for longer or something. And the Mutas just kind of take away a lot of that opportunity. So you go into Mutas here, he gets 8, 9 Mutas, switch back into Roaches, and then it becomes, you've just done damage to really get to a point where you can end the game a lot more easily, so it's going to be seeing all those Roaches from Serral continue to gather up on the right side, pressing through. Denver is going to try and run away over to the far right. +2 missile attack about to finish up from Denver in the next few moments. Nidus network still in play, remember, so you can still utilize this, and he actually does drop one into the back of the natural that then just gets killed off in an instant. Well, the Muta's on the way up. He still has this one Nidus in the front. Looks like he isn't interested in using it. Again, it's a really cool, kind of backstab tool. But obviously, Serral's not moving out to be backstabbed at the moment. Denver, I think, he just saw the first Mutalist showed up and just killed an Overlord, and he's just like, yep. Yeah, last game of being the B stream for WCS Summer. So let's make the most of it. To the bottom right, our red Zerg. Looking for a comeback. It's Denver. And the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg. Attacking Serral. Guys, I just want to make a quick note as we start this. After this series, I'm going to be doing a small piece of sponsored content for about half an hour. It's a Twitch bounty. Basically, we're going to be hanging out and talking about Twitch Prime Day for half an hour. Basically, the way it works is if you guys stick around the stream, it helps me out a whole bunch. The payout is based on average viewership. So if you guys are going to continue watching WCS, but you can afford to keep this stream open in the background, it actually helps me out a whole ton, and it helps me get a bit of compensation out of casting all day long, and I try and put those that compensation back into other StarCraft 2 tournaments that I run. If you want to help us out, consider leaving the stream open at the end of the series. You don't have to have it unmuted. Leave it muted or something. Run it in the background. But it does help a whole bunch. If you're going to head off, I hope you enjoy the rest of WCS, of course, as well. And then again, let's see how this ZvZ is going to get going. Let's see what's going to happen as we kick this off into the ZvZ. Denver versus Serral. And look to see what's going to happen. Hatchery finishes up here on the natural expansion. A couple queens on the way out on both sides, of course. Man, I love the simulant Zerg sounds. The skin, the building skin sounds like when the hatchery feels like clunking around, like So, yeah, Serral getting this set up into game number 3, and well, I mean, he's just looked so good so far in this series. It's all the little things, the little run-bys go on for Serral, and they do so well. It's all those. So. Denver, on the other hand, he has to change things up, I think, a little bit. Because if he doesn't change things up... I mean, does he need to change things up, or does he just need to execute better? I guess is the better question, because what can you do to necessarily change it up in ZvZ? He's tried a couple of different openings. It's not really the openings that are the problem. It's just Serral is just finding those ways in. He's finding the ways to abuse this. Denver can ask for a moment here. I mean, Serral had a pause in game number 1. Maybe the pause for Denver is going to swing things back in his favor. It looks like we're good to resume, so straight back into it. Not too much of an issue. As we do see the Baneling Nest dropping down from both of them. So into the Ling Bane opening from both sides now. The third hatchery coming up as well. Very typical way to get started in the ZvZ here on King's Cove. Nice large map, by the way. Really nice large map, so excited to see what can come of this as the couple of Lings heading up to the top from Denver. And, yeah, they're going to have a little bit of a look to see what they can get up to. The Baneling Nest finishes on that natural expansion. A few Zerglings here from Serral starting to move down to the bottom side of the map. Again, Serral has been the aggressor in these games. He's continued to make Lings early and cut drones a little bit more than Denver. But in fairness, he's found value out of it pretty much every single time. I mean, this is Denver set up correctly to deal with this. A couple of Banelings, a good few Zerglings to help. Just isn't going to find anything quite yet. You see the first Bane gets a couple of Lings. He's led off a couple of Lings as well that just kind of go out there on their own, though. A Baneling from Serral gets in the mineral line, but there's no follow-up to that. Denver was distracted, though, and he does lose the Queen on the third base, so it's already Serral finding amazing value with the first few Zerglings of the game. He's caught back up on drones now as well. Well, actually, he's making a few more Lings than Banes, so actually he will let Denver take the worker lead once more in this game. Serral comes in, grabs a third, grabs another drone. Of course he does, right? I mean, it's just crazy. Baneling goes off on a couple of Lings there. You can't let another Baneling into this mineral line, because those drones are one-hittable from a Baneling at the moment. There'd just be 6 insta-kills, so have to be careful about that. As Serral throws down the Rotron, his transition into the +1 missiles is underway. Same for Denver, though. Denver is doing a pretty good job of going in towards that transition while still setting up into overall the kind of the Ling Bane here. So yeah, lead dropping down from both at a pretty similar time, and Denver has found himself on a little bit of a worker lead. So a little bit of a worker lead for a few moments. Denver getting a bit of an advantage in the game. Something you can work with. Good split on the Banelings means that... Oh, it was a good split, but then actually didn't work out too well. He does lose a couple drones. Oh no, and at the same time the Banelings hit on the natural expansion. 11 drones down, and suddenly Denver loses the advantage he had. Oh my god. I mean, I'm just like, oh yeah, Denver, he's finally getting a bit of an advantage. Something you can work with here, and boom, 11 drones die, and you're kind of just left tapping your fingers on the table like, well, we kind of cursed it a little bit. I'm sorry, Denver. That's what I mean, though. Like, Serral's just so fast. I mean, where did those Banes even come from? They just show up out of nowhere, and boom, mineral line connected. Back in the lead for workers then for a little bit. And worker, you can see the income advantage shoots back up into Serral's favor. Denver's droned a little bit more again since then, so he is back up by about 3 drones. But again, would have been nice for him to never have lost that advantage in the first place. Then he could have just made a few more units, and you know, that's the differences here, because you know, killing those workers is basically put Serral up in army supply. And that's an army supply advantage that when Serral has it, it doesn't disappear for the rest of the game. You know, it stays there unless Denver's able to take a hell of a good fight somehow or somewhere along the way. That's very difficult to pull off, of course. So +2 missiles starting up on each side of the map. A few Banelings here getting lifted up by the Overlord. So they're going to be coming down towards the bottom right-hand side to see what they can get up to. And again, just going to be seeing 9 more Roaches on the way out. And that's going to be Serral and Denver both going in towards that Roach style. Both with +2 and +1. So +2 missiles, +1 carapace on both sides of the map. And both of them up to 70 workers. So, dare I say it, Denver has found himself actually in not too bad of a spot, all said and done. Yes, there was that large spike of income lead for Serral, but that was about it. Otherwise, I'd actually say these guys are pretty even at the moment. You know, the work count's even. Serral's maybe a couple of army supply ahead, I would say, is the only big difference. But yeah, 4th base is coming up at the same time. Denver even getting a bit of a Baneling drop set up. Serral sees this with this Overlord, though. We'll see if he's been paying attention to that. I mean, if you get, yeah, a few Banes into that mineral line, he could take a worker lead, and again, that could bring back that little bit of a worker difference. Lings dive into the 3rd, so Denver will lose 3 drones. Here comes this Baneling drop, and Serral is not paying attention. Oh my god, he kills 11 drones across the map, but he is going to lose a lot of his own. 12 workers down across the map. A Baneling drop of his own killed 16. Oh my god. I was so excited for Denver to deal damage, I'd even completely missed the Overlord of Serral getting in. So Serral gets so much damage done. How does Serral find more drones than Denver when they both go for the same drop that just surprises each other? Oh man, Denver can't catch a break. The moment he deals damage to Serral, Serral's just like, cool, I'll kill 3 more drones than you do. That's actually crazy. I mean, that's just... I mean, what's so crazy is that these guys are doing the exact same thing, and that's where you can really see the difference between the two of them. You can just see that Serral is just that bit better, right? Like, there's no better way to display it. This is nice. Denver has a Contaminate on the +2 of Serral. If he can fight with +2 and Serral doesn't have it, army supplies are pretty even. Maybe there's some hope here for Denver. Let's find out. He's going to go in. I don't like Serral's Ravager positioning. His Ravagers just ran further into the army. This is a good start to the fight for Denver. The Concave is really good. And again, Serral doesn't have +2 attacks, so Denver gets it. Wow, what a Contaminate. And that's actually, wow, that game. Until everything that did go right for Denver happened in like the same 15 seconds. And it all came together to just give him that win just right there. That's actually really crazy. Like, man, I actually would love to go back over that ZvZ again sometime and just really look at just again all the little things. Denver, credit to him. Takes the map off Serral. He did a great job keeping up when he was under pressure and taking slight losses. And he is was able to turn that into his own advantage. As to the bottom left-hand side, our blue Zerg is Serral. What's up, someone asking why no good luck, have fun. These guys type GLHF to each other in the lobby chat, so just because these big tournaments put every second of focus into the game. So sometimes GLHF comes down in game. It doesn't make a big difference, but some people, you know, they really like to just think thoroughly, what's my build going to be, etc, etc, so. Alright, getting ready to go into game number 4 then. Didn't think we were going to get a game number 4, if I'm going to be honest. Didn't think we were going to get a game number 4. I was really on the Serral hype train. Probably a bit biased in the casting as well. But yeah, I loved what Denver did there in the end, as we do get ourselves into this 4th map. So, new repugnancy, what do you do again as Denver? I mean, I still look at the early game and I'm just like, well, Serral seems to do the right things. You know, Serral seems to put himself in a pretty good position. So, you know, what does Denver fix about that? Does he, you know, how do you fix up little things like that? It's actually kind of crazy. Alright, so we're going to be seeing the couple of queens coming up on each side of the map, and link speed starting from each of the players. I think Denver's playing okay. Just needs to it's those little run-bys of Serral, right, and the little bits of Ling micro that are really just getting those extra drone kills. I don't know how you fix that on the fly as Denver. It's just like, hey, Denver, you know all that Ling micro you've been practicing for the last 8 years you played StarCraft 2? Just do it a bit better suddenly. Okay, cool. It's kind of crazy. On the plus side, Denver does lose as little as he can to the attacks early, so let's see how this goes. Again, Serral every game has been the player to stop a few workers early and to be the first player to make the Lings, making him the aggressor. Maybe it would be nice if Denver became the aggressor, right? Because when you give someone the... I always feel as the attacker, you're more likely to be able to get damage. You know, it's harder to stop damage being dealt when someone's attacking you than it is to deal damage when you're when you're attacking into someone who's defending. A lot of the time, because all it takes is a couple of moments and boom, you can lose a couple drones, and your counter to that is nothing at all because you're a defender, right? And so maybe if Denver became the aggressor here and he was the one, and he does cut workers a little sooner this time, get a few more Lings out, maybe it just stops giving Serral those little opportunities, those slight moments when he can pick up a couple of drones that Denver doesn't usually lose in the game, right? Maybe that's the turnaround. And in ZvZ, the beauty of the Ling Bane matchup is that it doesn't really matter if you're the aggressor or the defender. Because if you're the aggressor and you cut drones earlier, your opponent at some point has to cut drones too to have enough units to defend. So, while yes, Serral takes a bit of a worker lead this time, Denver now plays catch-up as Serral makes units to defend. So, it's that kind of ping-pong back-and-forth worker count action you see in ZvZ, and it's why looking straight up at the worker count in ZvZ doesn't really make a lot of sense. Super early game, because it does fluctuate a lot between players. That's a very good Baneling connection for Serral, though. Full cleanup on half of the Lings. Yeah, that's a little painful. Yeah, but little things like this, right? Denver gets in the main, and while he doesn't do much with it, it's moments like that where he should have been able to get a full scout off, get full information as to what's going on. Hey, look at that, you know, Denver gets himself a queen kill because he's the aggressor. And again, this is what's so good about being the aggressor in StarCraft 2. Those opportunities arise, and you can take advantage of them. Now he even gets one more drone. So Denver's actually up 5 workers now, and Serral should be able to turn this around if he... Well, actually, Serral lost a lot of his Lings, so he doesn't actually have that many units to go across the map with. So actually, I think Denver's okay. And again, this game, he is the one that's going to be able to pick up a little bit of eco damage early. So Rotron coming up on each side. Missile upgrade as well. Again, going to see those players going to a similar setup as before. One drone down, good pull away by Denver. Making sure he's not going to leave too many of the drones just there. A couple of Lings run through, going to go. I mean, that was a little bit of a waste. If anything, these Lings maybe could have gone up here, made Banes, and then come down to try and attack. But Serral has a well-placed Overlord, of course, to watch these kind of things coming through. So, again, a few Zerglings coming across over the left-hand side. We do see the Lings and a Bane able to push those Lings of Denver away. We're at that point where the Ling production phase is pretty much ending. Serral's going to make a few more, but from here on out, it's mostly going to be roaches that we see. And Denver, actually, 55 drones. He is just making a lot of roaches with this +1 missiles finishing. Denver is not on a lair, so he is actually going all in with 55 drones, and he's just going to go. So he's not going to have roach speeds, and that's where the disadvantage comes in. He'll also not be able to start +2 missiles. So Serral's going to have to be on the defensive here. Serral's going to see this now moving across the map. So this is where Serral has to respond. He's up 9 workers, but he's down 35 army supply. Serral is usually ridiculously good at making holds like this happen when it looks like he's over-droned. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do about this as a couple of drones go down across the map. The Ling's picking up some kills there. Serral doing a bit of damage already. He's brought this up to 33 armor supply against 55. Now he gets more roaches of his own. He's building spine crawlers. They're going to be critical in this defense. As Denver comes around to the top. A couple of Banes there from Serral. Not really going to find much at all. Things like the Pneumatez Carapace aren't going to help Serral much in this scenario either. And there's those little things that obviously Denver has not committed into that Serral has, that should give Denver the heads up in this fight. I love this for Denver. He's fighting out of range of the spine crawlers, so where's Serral's defender's advantage? It doesn't exist at all, guys! The queens are going down, the roaches are being picked apart. I mean, now there's a spine crawler repositioning up here. Is there enough for Denver to just push through at the moment? He is going to come into this natural expansion. 2 Ravagers moving in the back. He's going to back away. That spine got a lot of free shots off there, by the way. And actually, a couple more roaches of Denver going down. His reinforcements are just now about to arrive. I love the first fight for Denver. And this is very similar to it, fighting out of range. And the Lings are going to do such a great job catching roaches, keeping them away. 2 spines down this ramp. Do you really want to fight the 2 spines? Well, maybe if there's no other roaches here. Corrosive Bow, one of them down nice and fast. Ling's reinforcing, getting picked off as these roaches get in between reinforcements and the army that's already over here. The Lings will prioritize getting onto the roaches now. Denver's going to drop a Corrosive Bow. Serral is going to turn this around, though. That little bit of a drone pull helping to push this back. Denver is going to be pushed away for the moment, and Serral's army supply now only 10 down. That should be enough to hold on. The decision to commit into those 2 spines, it costs a lot of army supply to be able to make this happen. It costs a lot of army supply to make this happen, but Serral is able to defend. He did everything right. He builds the spines in very passive locations, so they're not picked off easily. He pulled back plenty of times. The one thing I didn't like for Serral is when he took this fight here, he really got caught off guard with that, and that's where Denver took a really good engagement. But man, Serral is able to hold, and like I say, Serral is a master at holding in these games, in these scenarios, when you don't really expect him to be able to. This is not the sort of scenario when you expect Serral to just pull out a defense. He's so far behind in the army count. I feel like you play against most other Zergs on the high end of the European ladder, and Denver wins this game then and there. Serral? No, he doesn't let that happen a lot. He cancelled his roach speed as well, Serral, so he actually cancelled the roach speed as that attack came in to give him as many minerals and gas as possible to build roaches defensively. And add in this place, like, there's so many things you have to do in that moment you realize it's coming to be able to defend that, so really impressive defense here by Serral, as roaches and ravagers will continue to gather up on the high ground. Queen firing away at the Overseer. A lot of roach ravager from Denver going to move around up to the top, actually, so let me moving out to the top. There's the Spire dropping down from Serral. The Spire will give him, again, the Mutalisks on the field. And that was something that made Denver just straight up GG in game number 1. When the Mutas came out, he was just like, yeah, okay, you know what? I'm behind. I'm done. This game, that shouldn't happen, because Denver isn't necessarily behind as the Mutas come out. This is just Serral trying to get Mutas up. Denver's moving down at the bottom. He doesn't really... The good thing for Serral here is he actually has the upgrade advantage. Like, his +2 will finish before the +2 of Denver. The Carapace upgrade isn't as important in ZvZ fights as missiles. So having +2 missiles should stop Denver from attacking in, and should give Serral that little bit of extra safety to be able to get the Mutalisks out. And if the Mutalisks come out here, they will be able to target down Ravagers, and that obviously will be able to get a lot done, as we're going to be seeing the Roaches and Ravagers coming through the bottom side. Cancel on the 4th base from Serral. He does lose a few drones up to the top, so a few Banes sneaking their way in. This time again, it's Denver being the aggressor, finding chances, but no +2 missiles for him. The Roaches and Ravagers here from Denver looking to see what they can try and do. We're going to be seeing the Roaches still trying to see what's going to happen, and his army's going to disengage. Why isn't Carapace as important? It's just the +2 missiles does more damage per hit from the upgrade than the +1 Carapace defends per hit for the upgrade. So the +2 missiles is just better than the +1 Carapace. But now, of course, Carapace, you know, +2 missiles on both sides, then the Carapace will still help, of course. Here come the Mutas, so this is what Serral was buying time for, and he is going to get those Mutas on top of the Ravagers. He's going to go target each of those down as quickly as possible, take those Corrosive Bows away from his opponent, and this is going to turn into a really solid defense from Serral. A very good hold, and now Serral is going to be able to push Denver away. He just had to buy time for the Mutalisks, and as soon as those Mutalisks come out, this army goes down so much faster because you're able to target the Ravagers so quickly. You take away a lot of Corrosive Bows that should have then been in the fight. So Serral did absolutely everything he needed to hold this off. Buy time for the Mutas, get the Mutas on top of those Ravagers, and boom. Game completely changes from there. As we see, Mutas going to come down, jump onto an Overlord on the bottom side. A lot of Roaches here from Denver looking to defend. His army supply is down by 15. That's rough because there's Mutas in this army of Serral as well. Mutas don't scale as highly as Roaches do when it comes to army supply. So if you're in the army lead with Roach Ravager Muta against Roaches, there's no Ravagers here either, you're generally at a better army. You're super far ahead. It's kind of crazy. So I think Serral in a really good spot right now. Love this little bit of a run by. The one thing I will say, Denver does have that 4th base up. Serral's still getting his established. That's not going to matter too much as long as it does come up and he does mine from it. The worker counts are pretty even. All said and done. Again, that muscular augment's going to be finishing in just a few moments. The Mutalisks here from Serral coming through the top side of the map. They've cleaned up a lot of the overlords. Denver's been supply blocked for what feels like minutes at this point. As his army supply increased, you can just see the flatlining of Denver's army almost when he's been supply blocked there for a few seconds. Hydra's obviously out to try and deal with these Mutas on the offensive, as the Mutas, I mean, this is what the Mutas are so good at though, flies in, Boom, 5 drones. He's going to be able to swap between bases, cost him 1 meter. Guess what? There's only 2 queens here to defend, so you've got a bit of a few drones. Flies up towards the natural again, just another couple of queens. He can probably just kill these queens, and now the Hydras are so far away that he's just going to continue picking off drones, and Denver just says, yeah, okay. I'm not set up properly to deal with mutas because he doesn't have spore crawlers at all. He was hoping to defend. I mean, he wasn't really expecting the mutas at first, right? And I mean, now he's just so kind of out of position. He's just going to say, yep, I'm going to go across the map and try and make something happen. But Serral is waiting for him, a hug of a concave. He's like, yeah, come into my arms, baby. I got you. You know, you give me these roaches. Serral is a welcoming, that's a very welcoming concave, as we do see the Roach Ravager Hydra coming up here. I mean, again, Denver is going to be hard-pressed to make something happen. He does have a large army supply, though. It's not impossible. Serral hasn't built up too much of a bank just yet with the army, with the worker lead that he has. So that worker damage was only done recently, but I love the Banelings. They make their way through to a lot of the Hydras here. Denver's army is starting to make some progress, and Serral's army is shrinking, but it's the reinforcements that Serral can build that will get so much done here. Denver's still losing drones on the other side of the map, and while again it looks kind of scary as Serral is pushed back into the third, again it's the reinforcements that are popping out all the time, and this is only Hydras and Ravagers left. They're super squishy, they go down way too easily, and that, my friends, is going to be how Serral defends and makes his way into the quarterfinals.